What happened to grandmother's house?
The neighborhoods do need beautification. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong when it can only be done by outside people that don't look like us.
You know, you have these large corporations, hedge funds, buying not just blocks, but just whole communities at this point to create forever renters.
And the same people that selling the house aren't the same people buying the house.
Homes were for people. For our grandmother's generation, they were not for investment. Homes are no longer for people. People buy homes now for profit.
The technical word gentrification is not necessarily a bad thing. It's the colonization that we have problems with.
Gentrify your hood before those people do it.
If you talk about it, but you won't hear about it. If you talk about it, that's all they do about it.
Woo! Hey, Catherine.
Hey.
I feel like I need to put like a little applause track in here or something.
I know.
Just
Some type of-
But we're probably just gonna let some people come in as they come in. I know the IG live isn't up and running just yet, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a good middle of the week. You know, we have elections coming up next week, so everybody go vote.
Yes.
On the 8th, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah,
great.
but I'm having a
Turn
really
in
good
them ballots.
turn in the ballot.
Absolutely. Yes, turn in them ballots. They still text me. I just got a long text from Bob Hertzberg just 2 seconds ago, child. I'm
How
like,
was-
oh my gosh. Huh?
I said, how was your week?
My week is good. It's really busy. You know, just burning the oil, trying to get the word out about what we're doing, keeping momentum up is really important. And it's hard. It's very, very hard. But you know, like I said, I keep saying it's beyond me, it's beyond us. It's a bigger cause that we're working towards. But I want to introduce you because we know who I am, most of us, if you've been tuning in. But I wanted to introduce you, Catherine, and have everybody, and you have a little guest behind you too.
Yes, she's crawling around. She wants to see what's going on.
Hey.
Hi. You're
How
on
you
live. Everybody on YouTube and Facebook. This is my little legacy.
There we go.
My legacy too.
I'm mad at you.
Okay. Okay, go
I'll
outside with
stay with
Daddy
you for a
now.
little bit.
Okay.
Stay with you for a little bit. Okay. But yeah, well, just tell everybody, Catherine, what you do and your involvement with the project.
So I am a producer on the project. I also do marketing. I've been with LeMayday for as old as she is. So it's for 6 years now. So I've been fortunate enough to know Sharik. Sharik has just been such a blessing to me, Sharik, in my life. So
thank you.
She's put me on so many projects and I've learned so much. I'm learning a lot in this project too. So yeah, and this is you know, very passionate for me because I lost my grandmother who did own 2 properties in LA, 2 apartment buildings, and my grandfather as well. And we're still trying to see what we're gonna do with his land. He owned land and properties in Mississippi. So, you know, this is, and then like I said, I have my little one right here. So I'm in my life, I'm working on building a legacy for her to leave her something and my grandkids, and you know, and for that to come. So yeah,
absolutely. So when I first presented this to you, I know you said that you've gone through this experience yourself. What was kind of like the first thing that struck you? Did you immediately think about your family's land and what you may have lost?
Yeah, I immediately thought about that, and then I thought about how the lack of knowledge that my family had around this, and just my grandfather as well. He had a will, but not a trust. So you know, there was just a lot of lack of information, a lot of not a lot of knowledge, and that was kind of heartbreaking to me, especially as a millennial. And we've seen so many things, like we've seen a lot happen in our lifetime. You know, from 9/11 to economic crash to the prices of housing just skyrocketing. You know, within the span of 10 years. So the fact that to know that I could have had a piece of a legacy or a piece of like something to jumpstart me, you know, process of building was just really heartbreaking. And it was all because of like, you know, the lack of knowledge and the lack of conversation among among the generations.
Yeah, that's really key. That's something that you looked at. It's like, well, wow, that could have helped jumpstart me. That could have put me in a better position
Right.
moving forward, especially with the economic and the housing crisis that we're dealing with at this time. But I wanted to focus on the aspect of generational wealth. So you have a daughter. What is something that you think that you want her to know, or something that you want to teach her as she becomes a young adult, and starts planning her future in terms of equity and home ownership and all of the things?
I think right now I would just really want to educate her on the different options that we have to build wealth. I think, and how to manage money, you know, how to make money when you're sleeping. Like, there's just so much to teach her around that concept. So I think that would be like my main focus, and how to hold on to it and build it at the same time, not just, you know, working for money and then that, you know, that disappears, you know.
Right. Y'all go play these power balls, you feel me? But just to give a definition, because we talk about this a lot, and I feel like let's actually put a definition behind it. Generational wealth refers to financial assets passed by one generation of a family to another. Those assets can include cash, stocks, bonds, and other investments, as well as real estate and family bonds, and other investments, as well as real estate and family business. So it's all a business. It's all, you know, treating your family like a business is one of the terms that we've heard about too. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up our fave, Miss KS Consulting. How you doing?
We need hand clap.
Question: is there anybody backstage? Like, is there
Not
one?
right now.
Okay. Okay.
How are you doing?
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hi. Had a little technical difficulty, but I'm here. Hey, y'all.
You're here. We appreciate you being here. So we, just to kind of sum up these past couple of weeks. So first week we had Dre, where we definitely learned some things in regards to, from a community activism or civic engagement standpoint, what can be done in terms of grandma's house and how we can utilize our resources to kind of twofold adjust to major situations that we're dealing with, being gentrification as well as displacement, aka homelessness. I don't like to say homelessness, but being people that are displaced.
Right.
And then from LaTroya, who we had on last week, somebody who actually bought grandma's house, we just learned all of the things that she had to deal with, which is kind of intimidating. And so it's like, okay, I get it. I get why a lot of people don't want to travel down that road, because I kept calling her a superhero. Like, girl, where's your cake? Because that's a lot. It's a lot emotionally, physically, all of the leads in terms of being able to do something like that. So, Kisa, was there any like major takeaways these past couple weeks for you?
That's a good question. There's been a few. Just really like learning like the laws, not even necessarily the laws. I've been more empowered to look up the laws on my own. I know we haven't really delved too much into that yet. We will, but and just being mindful and really trying to just make sure that even now that my family knows that we need to have living trust in place, we need to make sure that all I's are dotted, T's are crossed, because just because you have a lawyer or, you know, have a will in place doesn't mean that it's necessarily solid proof. So learning that, also seeing how things roll when it comes to like putting, I don't like to say homelessness either, but putting things into position when it comes to real estate and poverty and what that looks like. Dre shed a lot of light on that. And then just kind of how we kind of know how the family structure goes when it comes to like death in the family and assets and things like that. But to really hear people's stories about it is really like interesting. So yeah, those are some of the things that I've taken away, and still really eager to like learn. I want to know the legal side. I'm like, where's the lawyers at? Like, I want to know, like,
we definitely need. We absolutely need some lawyers. Well, just to kind of shed some light, you know, what we're going through with my family without saying too much. We're just trying to figure out a way to come together to provide solutions at this point. And one of the things that I know really struck out to me, and that I know my grandmother had even told my sister, was like, "Oh, I want this house to be a museum," you know. So, and it's a historical landmark in my book, in many people's opinions. So, what does that look like? Like, I really want to know, how do you go through the process of making something a historical landmark? In terms of what it does for the community, because my grandparents both have accolades behind them in terms of what they've done, and actually having it on paper as city record too. And how does that give back to the community? So that's one of the things I think I'm really eager to learn more about. And then learning just straight up just resources. Who out there can provide money? How do we become a resource for others? Fundraising has never been my thing. I think me and money have an interesting relationship. I say interesting with the eyebrow raise. But I think that's kind of what I'm digging into with this too, is like the fear or the reservations that we may have with money as a generation, and just like as a people. I think there's a lot of people who even feel guilt behind chasing money. Maybe not having money, but actually the chase of money. There's a certain
what we do for it, like
exactly.
What
do y'all feel like that sometimes?
Absolutely. Like what the things that people do for money, and then once they get, I think we saw that nothing else with COVID. In the last 2 years, when people get a little something that they've never had, they either use it for the greater good or they're just off the hook with it. So when it comes to home ownership, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions, when it comes to real estate. So it's just about knowing how to leverage the asset. And I don't really like to talk too much about getting out of it. I have someone one in my family right now going through a similar situation with their in-law. And so it just kind of sucks to see that this home is like, just like what Ms. Cooley was saying last week. You know, this home has been in their family for like a long time, like over 50 years. And so now they're just like, people just get flustered, like, we're just gonna get rid of it. And then hindsight is like, you know, year 2, 5 years down the line, it's like shoulda, woulda, coulda, but we got to be able to talk about because a lot of times it's like fear of the unknown. A lot of times people just don't know, you know what I mean? So I really like the fact that we're honing in on the education of it all, and then just providing solutions that hopefully people take notes on and apply, because there is definitely options out here.
Yeah, definitely. I just went on to Facebook real quick and I saw Miss Cooley put a post up 8 hours ago. She said, "I'm literally hiring all my close friends to help me organize and put together my house. I'll pay with food and alcohol, sleepover to follow." I think that's dope. And that's dope because it's like, yeah, we have to have our community. We were just talking about building a community and helping each other. And it don't just start at the housewarming. It's why aren't we having real estate showers, like how you have baby showers? Why aren't we doing stuff like that? Like when you know somebody's preparing to start a business or somebody's preparing to buy a house, like why don't we do those types of showers for people? So yeah, I think me personally, I'm working on my relationship with finances and money. And I think for so long, just coming from a place of not having a lot, it's hard to put myself into that mindset of I deserve this kind of thing. And it's kind of weird because that's never been my identity. And just, I think that's what a lot of us struggle with. Like to me, still, even to this day, me buying a house is like, I could buy a house. Yeah. You know, it just seems so far-fetched. And I'm realizing that about myself as I'm going through this process. And I'm like, well, no, it's possible. I have examples. I have people around me and people that I'm looking at right now that can do it and have done it. So
yeah, that's a huge thing. Sorry, y'all. I'm warm.
No,
that's a huge thing, especially like in our culture. It feels so far-fetched when we talk about real estate. When we talk about assets in general, it tends to be like this huge thought of like, oh, can I, you know, but right now it's a really opportune time. You don't have to have stellar credit. You don't have to have a huge down payment. And then people wonder like, well, how can I do that? How, you know, like where do I start kind of thing. But it's not really, for me, and I was just blessed. It was not as strenuous as like what you hear at all. Right? It's just about having your ducks in a row, finding a home that's going to be worth something in 5 years.
Yeah.
And you know, making sure that it works for you. But I just so happened to purchase when the market was just insane. Everybody was, and now is an opportune time too, because the rental market is through the roof. So by the time you rent, you can be paid. My mortgage is lower than any rent I've ever paid, ever. But I'm also in Georgia, and that's just the consensus here. So like significantly lower, like half.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy in California? Like, is that a goal?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything I do here is paying for my retirement at home. That was the plan before I got here. I'm like, if I go to Georgia, then that was always the plan. No, I'm not gonna say.
I know a lot of people, and that's another thing, because you know, when we're talking about gentrification, you tell us, and you've been telling us actually how things are starting to shift out there as well. We're starting to see the trickle down effects of gentrification happening in those areas. It's like as soon as we congregate and we populate and we get it lit somewhere, you know, here come the others. Impeding upon and encroaching upon our spaces, and the predatory lending practices and the historical redlining practices, and how that really plays a role into all of the communities. So you're seeing it firsthand happening there as well, right, Keith?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get Hersha taken care of. Little slight technicality. The same thing happened to me. I just sent her the link again. She says she's been backstage.
I don't see her.
I know, because it's not the right one. I told her to just come in again, but
here I'm about to text it to you directly so we can get her in here.
I think it's too, Kisa, about seeing your friends like purchase homes and seeing the people around you purchase homes, like you were saying, like to see that happening, it makes it feel like it's more attainable for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it's really one of those things where I'm fired up, like to see what people have been able to do. Like here in the South, it's not uncommon to meet someone in their 20s, you know, in college, fresh out of college, that owns property. And it's not necessarily inherited, but if it is inherited, like I know about 3 people right now who have inherited land and they're building on the land so that they can, you know, have rental property. But no, it's a totally different climate here when you talk about assets and leverage. I feel like the South definitely makes it easier to obtain property because the cost of living is lower, right? So it was. Now it's kind of
getting up there in
California, but yeah, no, it's definitely, there's several people I know who are like in home ownership and now have like leveraged one home and bought others and moving other things. So yeah, it is. It's really inspiring. I haven't even been here that long, but I've noticed it for years. I've been coming back and forth to visit for over a decade, and I noticed it like right away. It's always been a melting pot for investment. So yeah, okay. I think it sounded like that. Let's see. Sorry, y'all.
We can do
it. We have anybody else coming in?
Not for another 2.
Can we shout out our donors? Yes,
shout out our
donors, those who have supported so far.
Yeah, so let me actually put that up right now too. For those of you who would like to support and those of you who have supported, where is my banner? Here we go. If you head over to lamede.com/SSGH, which stands for Stop Selling Grandma's House, you will find all of the links and buttons that it will take for you to get to the Stop Selling Grandma's House Kickstarter platform, where we are asking for you to donate and pledge your support to not only our documentary, but our initiative in order to provide resources for families that are at the precipice potentially of losing their family legacy home. That means grandma's house, grandpa's house, auntie's, mama's house, big mama's house, whatever that may look like. We don't want you to lose it if you ain't trying to lose it. If you're trying to do what's right with it, we all for that as well. So by no means are we saying don't sell grandma's house. We say stop because we're saying stop before you do it. Assess the situation. Look both ways before you cross that threshold into those territories. And without further ado, I will allow you to welcome our guest, Miss Kisa, if you would like to do that.
Oh, yay. Okay, so we got action. Okay, so this is one of my dearly beloved, closest family friends, sister wives that I've known since I was about 12. And just phenomenal. Hersha Allen is a serial entrepreneur. That's what I call her. She's the first entrepreneur out of our whole crew.
That's a lot.
Yeah. From the start of the presses and ponytails. Okay, you can mute. There you go. But no, Hersha is the owner, founder, CEO of Zodiac Luxury Hair, as well as Zodiac Luxury Hair Studio in Northern California, where we grew up. And I call her the mayor because she's super well. Look at her, like super well-rounded and just totally tapped in. I watched Hersha weigh hand and foot on her grandparents, not just one. It was multiple. Our whole young life, like all through high school, up until their homegoing, and she handled it like beautifully. Also, you know, literally the epitome of grandma's house, like lived in her grandma's house, took care of her grandma in her grandmother's house. And then when she passed away, she inherited the home. Then hit a few hurdles, which I'll let her touch on. But just to see now 20 years later, she's now in her second home. And Elk Grove. We dang near need a tour. We'll do that on an episode. But has a beautiful home that she purchased almost 2 years ago. So yeah, so I definitely appreciate you being on her. You can unmute. Let's clap it up. Sound effects. So welcome.
I'm not on mute.
Do you have us playing somewhere else?
Is it
It's echoing.
Is it? How about now? When I hold it, is it echoing?
Nope.
Okay, let's hold it. I'll hold it up.
Okay, you a cute girl.
Oh, hello, ladies.
So my apologies, Church. We had some technical difficulties. I know I hear feedback too. Are you on your phone or your computer?
On my phone.
You are. You think you should turn it down?
Yeah, maybe turn it down a little bit.
Okay. Better?
Yeah, it's a little better.
It's a little better. I was trying to log on out. Yeah, because the link. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So basically, I just kind of want you to talk briefly about your journey as a homeowner, because you pretty much almost have seen it all. You're young. Like I said, I've known you since about 8th grade, going into 9th, whether I knew who you were. We really got cool in high school, but from like 14 on up, you've always been everything Hersha says she's gonna do, she's done it. Like everything. Including homeowners. Including homeowners. Trying to talk about that journey, like what that looked like. With you taking care of your grandmother in her beautiful home. And just how you navigated that after she passed on with the family.
You mean just starting one thing at a time? Talking about grandma, what you want to start with first? Come on, give it to me. Grandma. Ask me a question.
So what was the process like when you knew that you wanted to buy your grandmother's home? Like, what was that first initial aha moment for you?
Well, it wasn't necessarily buying my grandmother's home. It was like kind of like, we thank the Lord for our grandparents, especially being 80s babies. You know what I'm saying? You hear raising the crack epidemic and all that stuff, it's just real life, So my life, my journey, my mom passed at a young age. I was in high school. I've always been my grandmother's favorite. I love to say that because I was just one of them special kids. And, things happen. So when she passed, I lived with her. But my mother always said, hey, you're going to, your grandma, you're going to go with your grandma, if anything happens to me, which is weird, but this is just life. People know, and we come and we go, And through the journey, my grandmother got sick, my grandpa passed, of course. I feel like you know, I had a wonderful grandmother. She's a Taurus. That's why I love y'all bulls, girl. I love y'all bulls. I always tell people I was raised by bulls. All my grandparents is Tauruses or whatever. And you know, my grandma was just so good to me, like through my whole life. So I would have been a fool not to, you know, be there. You know what I'm saying? Because she was everything, just to the whole family, just period. You know, literally. And so you know, not getting deep, but getting deep. You know, when you're young and your grandparents say this for you, but and you know, actuality, it really is. Because guess what? They're gonna go. You know, this is real life, you know? So look at this one right here. She's so funny. So anywho,
through it, it's just like, oh my gosh. And
but let me ask you this, not to cut you off. Did you and your grandmother actually have that conversation? Did she say, I want you to have this?
Absolutely. But the thing was, like in high school, when she was, I guess when they got older, like she was always black and white with me, right? So beforehand, it was like, okay, this is going to be for you and your auntie, right? Like just straight up 50-50, you know, when I was in high school. Then so many years later, she changes it. You know, this is, I want this for you. So, you know, her daughter, her kids is feeling the kind of way. I have nothing to do with this. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? And she's strong. She knows what's going on. She, whatever. It's your world. But you know me, I'm so just, you know, hey, whatever you want. Y'all tell me what you want. That's the type of grandchild I'm not. I'm not like greedy. I'm not money hungry. I love money, but I'm a cheerful giver, just like my grandmother. That's why I believe I'm so blessed, you know? So when things change, you know, I guess it was a problem. I wanted to talk to her kids, you know what I'm saying? But they kind of didn't want to. They was just like, oh, no. But at the end of the day, if you were in my world, you know, everybody knew what it was. Not like that, but like that. You know what I'm saying?
But your grandma, I don't want to keep saying that. We call her name, but
say her name. Speak her
Miss
name.
Kate. Miss Kate.
Miss Kate. So Miss Kate. So Miss Kate owned the home when she passed away, though, right? Like you didn't have.
Oh yeah, my grandfather bought the home cash, so it was already paid for. So we was just paying taxes, and yeah, the house was bought cash. But you know, her kids, I guess, however she had it, she had a I believe a trust indeed or whatever. And everything was how she wanted it. And she did change it maybe 3 years before she passed. She changed it or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, Grandma, don't. This is me. You know, she talking to her sister from the Esther Circle from the church. I'm like, Grandma, this, you know, not like that, but like that. Because I'm young, but it's like, I still got you. You do what you need to do, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, her son and her daughter took me to court, and you know how that goes. The lawyer took most of the home. The home was in the low, you know, then. Now, you know, so many years later, you know, it's, you know,
because it's in
double the amount
too. So just to kind of touch on that, because we were just talking about the legalities when it comes to home ownership, and even when the homeowner passes away, thinking that they have a living trust or, you know, a solid will, and then there's holes in that will to where there's maybe the person that it's willed to or whoever are the heirs, it doesn't necessarily roll like that, and then that can either cause friction or it could be like a oh crap moment, like, oh well, now what's next? So for you, once Grandma Kate passed on, were you, I know she was very black and white with you, but was everything like executed accordingly, or was there any hurdles other than the fact that of course you had to go to court?
Oh no, everything was really, you know, it's going to be a little bumps, but it's nothing that I couldn't handle, you know. But when everything was done, you know, lawyers, and you got to do this, you come to this conclusion, you know. My brother was like, you should have fought, but it's like, these are kids. I don't want to fight my family, you know, but I should have fought. I should have,
Now in
I shouldn't
hindsight,
put my
that was
foot
the
on their necks, and it's so messed up because my uncle, he got sick past 2 years later. Right after that, it's like my aunt, she got sick too. You know what I'm saying? And now she's in a bad position. And it's sad because like it's just sad because you pray that you get old, you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to be unhealthy when you get old, you know what I'm saying? But they couldn't really even enjoy, just so mad at the fact. And I get it, but then I know who I am, you know, and God knows my heart. So I put my heart and soul in it. So I get it. So it, you know, it, if it wasn't supposed to play out, it wouldn't have played out like that, you know?
Was the home still in the family when they passed on, or did they sell it?
Oh, sorry. Say that again.
Was the home still in the family when they passed on, or did they end up selling it after?
They end up selling it.
Okay.
Yep, they end up selling it.
Wow.
And we all got a piece. Was it worth it? Hell no.
I was gonna ask you that. We didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to ask you, like, what
wasn't worth it?
What did you learn? What did you learn from this whole process?
From the whole process, literally, like how they do in the movies, have it recorded. This is what I want. This is what I want for you, you, and you, or just huh?
That's a gem. Sorry to cut you off, but that's a gem. Like on video, you mean?
Yeah. This
Wow.
is how I want it for you, you, and you. I mean, maybe, but you know, like how I would do it now since I learned and I'm getting older and I know people are dying young and it's scary, but this is just life. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got an expiration date we don't know. And if you do want something for your family members, I always tell people insurance is the best thing to have. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be accidents. We going to live, we going to die, we going to get hurt, all of the above. So every type of insurance, but you know, especially with your house, the titles, the deeds, get it done. If we going to sport Nike and we going to drink Starbucks, you know, it doesn't take a lot. They always have, you know, you don't have to be the biggest, but they always have something that we could utilize, you know, depending on or however your finances are, you know. To where you have it black and white, whatever it is, whatever you want.
Would be the video. I think that's genius. I might do that tonight. I think that is genius.
Girl, not tonight.
Because we have takeaways that we take from every episode.
We gotta utilize our technology and what we got. I think that nobody's mentioned that before. I think that's
we've talked to a lot of people.
But thank you so much, Hersha. Just let our audience know where they can support you, because like you an entrepreneur out there being great. How can people follow your movement and support what you do?
Oh, thank you. It's a beautiful thing, you know. And you know, we always want so much more, but we're just so thankful for what we have and the couple of people that we're educating or saving or giving inspiration to, you know. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, beautiful ladies, and everything that you guys are doing too.
You guys can follow you. Yeah, we tell the people where to find you.
Okay, they can find me at Zodiac Swag on Instagram, 2020, Zodiac _ 2020 _ I think. Oh my God, this is terrible. Can we retake this?
Zodiac Swag 2020. That's the person.
Yes, that's my Instagram. Then if you want to purchase any products, we have zodiachairstudio.com.
I'll put it in the comments for y'all.
Yes, we have products. We have edge control. We have luxury hair. We have all of that. Bonnets, everything.
Yep, you guys can shop Zodiac Hair Studio. Follow on IG, Zodiac Hair Studio FF_, and we'll also be reposting this as well. Hersha, we appreciate you. We're gonna do an episode with you too. Yay, confirmed.
Yes.
Thank you, Hersha.
But yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kiss the baby.
Oh, yes, he's right here.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We out here getting gems. I love it.
That's a good one. And knowing how that will tie in legally too. Like, would that hold up in court? Because it's verbal, it's coming from the person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as there's no like dementia or mental illness that can like
Yeah, I guess you would just have to put the timeline together and figure all of that out. But you know, when you do insurance, when people do their insurances, and I saw this even recently with that comedian that just passed. Forgive me, I just forgot his name. The one that passed most recently, he had a lot of YouTube videos with him and his wife and his two daughters. And one of the videos, he showed the insurance people coming into the house and actually doing all of their tests and seeing how healthy he and his wife were. And I just thought that was really remarkable. And I'm like, well, we know for sure he was set up before he passed unexpectedly. They made sure that they did that. So I think maybe doing it around or in conjunction with that, if you're doing your insurance and all of those things, I think that's the best way to do it. But we're gonna find out about that.
Yeah.
The legal statute of it.
We're
But
gonna
I wanted to go ahead.
So we need to get a lawyer on.
Yeah, lawyer next.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring up this next young lady. I've known her for years. We go back. And actually through having different conversations and as well as with Miss Cooley and Vernell, who popped on quickly last week, I learned of her story and what she's been dealing with. And being that, you know, like I said, we got this whole Berkeley connection with our grandparents' houses. I figured I would bring her on and just kind of have her share her story and let us know what she's been going through in her fight and just see how we can support her in every way we can. So please welcome Miss Ashley Johnson. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
We're good. I'm glad we get to have this conversation and, you know, just talk to you a little bit more. I know that you've been going through it. I wanted you to know that you have my support, our support. We're all here with you. We done all been through it. So, just let our audience know a little bit about yourself. And then as it pertains to you being currently, right, you're currently going through.
Yeah, I'm currently going through the probate process.
Okay.
Trying to become the executor of the estate. My grandparents both passed away. There was no will, no trust, like no nothing. The home was back taxes. So the state was, or the city was going to come and take the house. So I left from where I was to move here to catch up with the back taxes and just try to, you know, get everything back in good standing. So this process has been really, really hard because I am doing it by myself, all alone, and I don't know really what I'm doing, trying to just figure it out step by step. And just trying not to, you know, lose the property to, you know, the city. So just trying to figure it out as I go.
Yeah. So then question, did you have any conversations with your grandmother prior to that discuss what she would have wanted the house to, what she would have wanted you to do with the house?
I had good discussions with my grandfather. I took care of him before he passed. So he would say, I want you to have something when I'm gone. And I just didn't understand, you know, because I was younger. So I didn't know what he was asking of me until it was too late. He like passed away all of a sudden. And there was like no paperwork. There was just nothing left behind. So we didn't know how to, I guess, we didn't pay attention on how to move forward or what to do for the next steps. You know, I just never thought about it.
Yeah. At what point was it triggered? Did something trigger you to actually get into this fight? Like, did you receive legal documentation, or was it kind of like an instantaneous aha moment when you realized he was gone?
When I realized he was gone, that kind of put everything back into perspective for me. But there were still people living in this house, my family. And they weren't paying the back taxes. The house is paid for, but they weren't paying the taxes. So once the documents, the paperwork came in that they wanted to take the house, I knew I had to. And I grew up in this house. I'm in the house right now. So I literally grew up here. Yeah. The room I'm in is my room that I was in when I was a child. So it's just everything came back full circle, you know?
Yeah.
So I just remember him just saying, I want you to have something. And I was just like, he didn't ask my mom. He didn't ask his other children. He didn't ask.
Generation.
He asked me, you know, and I'm the grandchild. So now it's just like, I have to keep moving forward. I have to keep this house. You know, my grandparents came from down south. They were able to purchase this house. And
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it in the neighborhood. This whole neighborhood was black. You know, it was just.
We know what neighborhood. Let us know what neighborhood you
I was
read.
gonna say, what area are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Berkeley. I'm in between Ashby and Dwight Way.
Oh
So,
my gosh, Dwight Way. So my grandfather was on Stewart Street.
I used to stay on Stewart and McGee.
Okay, so the church on the corner,
McGee Avenue.
I was across the street from that church. That was where I stayed.
I used to see Ashley. When I would be walking home from school every now and then. I'd be like, "Hey, girl," because she talked
in the corner like, "Hey."
Yeah, so my grandfather's house, I don't know if you recall the home that had the hedges in the front. It was the cocktail glass and the two like chairs. There were like two wine glass. It's kind of like, if you know, you know, but he never changed.
I feel like if I seen it, I would know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right across from the church. But yeah, we're all
like right there, you know. So
yeah, and that's great. And imagine they probably all like knew each other or had some type of close pride, especially with McGee Avenue Baptist Church was such a big church in the neighborhood. And my great grandmother used to literally walk to that church every day, even when they took her car keys away from her, like, you can't drive no more. She lived to be, I think, 106. But
that's how old she was when she passed away.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about a life.
And she would get up every Sunday and walk to McGee Avenue Baptist Church. So I got some stories about McGee Avenue. So that's remarkable. But I wanted to just kind of talk about what you spoke to earlier in regards to back taxes. So I pulled this up. It says in California, you generally have 5 years to get current on delinquent property taxes. Otherwise, you could lose your home in a tax sale. If you don't pay your California property taxes, you could eventually lose your home through a tax sale.
And that's auction. Those are auctions they have. Like, every state is different. Here in Georgia, it's like every month. Like in certain counties, I went to 2 in the last 2 years, and that's it. You might see a home that only owes $1,400 in taxes. You might see a home that owns $20,000 in taxes. But that's awesome.
Anybody
5 years
purchase your home if you have delinquent taxes, you know.
Did your grandfather have a living trust or a will? Or
he didn't have anything.
Oh wow,
anything.
And did he have any children that were still here?
Yes, my mother, but she ended up passing, and then my aunt. I have 2 aunts. So, but he didn't ask them, and they are, you know, my aunt lived here, but she wasn't paying the taxes, but she was getting money from, you know, when my grandpa was here, my grandmother, and she just wasn't. This is the second time that the note was on the door. So I knew that they would want to come and take it, and you know, I just couldn't let that happen. So I got her evicted out of here, and well, I filed up the papers. I really didn't go through it, but we got her out of here, and the back taxes are current. I have 1 more payment. But I did do the grandchild to grandparent transfer, so I just stuck with paying that.
What is that, grandchild to grandparent?
It's the grandchild or the grandparent to grandchild transfer. So whatever the taxes were at the time they bought the house is what will be continued to be paid.
Oh, so whatever was owed, it won't keep accruing, like it'll freeze.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you were kin, though. Like, what did you?
I believe I did. I did so much paperwork. Like, I went to court. My aunt came and objected against me. She was like, "I don't want you to do this," and I'm just like, I'm trying to help us out, you know. So
right.
But I did believe I had to give them our birth certificates or something like that. But
this is part 3. This is week 3. But this is like,
I haven't heard that term yet.
This is really informative.
I'm gonna read it to what I just found on a Keystone Law Group. It's a probate attorney page. They said when a property owner passes away, in most cases, the property tax that the descendant had been paying, based roughly on the descendant's purchase price of the property adjusted annually, automatically increases. The most common of these tax exclusions is the parent to child exclusion, which applies broadly to most property transfers at death between parent and their children. But another tax exclusion, the grandparent to grandchild property tax exclusion, is far more selective in its applicability.
I
Wow.
probably could have did that. Oh, so my grandfather's home sold. My aunt and uncle were there, and they just felt like they couldn't keep it up anymore. So if I knew then what I knew now, I would have really tried to fight. I just kind of was like, well, what about making it student housing? Well, what about? But I wasn't proactive, and I really believe that if I was, my uncle would be like, okay. But even hearing that, I'm like, wow, you know. We're in America. I feel like there's workarounds with
There's always something.
Everything. Yeah. So for you, Ashley, I'm pretty sure you know that that's all a write-off. A little tax preparer in me is coming out. Anything you've spent on the home is all tax deductible.
See, and I had no idea. And I've spent a lot.
And when you furnish any furniture, anything you do to the home, it's all a write-off. So make sure you keep that. And then, you know, now this doesn't apply to you, but when Biden got in, when Obama got in office, I can't remember the name of the law, Sharif. You might be able to pull it up. But he basically made it a law to where lenders have to put your property taxes in escrow, because you remember that we went through a recession, kind of similar to now, but people were losing their homes left and right.
Yeah.
My father went through that. And so for like 3 years, he was trying to keep the home. And so what happened was people got behind on their taxes, and Obama said no. Going forward, it's required for lenders to put the property taxes in escrow. So at the end of the year, that's already done. It's already taken care of. So now you can't even get a home loan without the escrow being included in your mortgage. I think it's great. Like it's
Thank you for that, because I hadn't heard that yet. So we piling up these resources, you guys.
Have a lender.
Definitely
when you get that cost breakdown sheet, and if your escrow is not included in that mortgage, run.
Yeah.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Ashley?
And then I'm like kind of stuck in probate right now because there's a debt from Medicaid that popped up from my grandfather. He's been gone for maybe 6 years ish. And it's a big debt. It's for like $64,000.
So they put a lien on the home?
Huh?
Did they put a lien on the home?
That's what we're kind of we have to do a voluntary lien. Okay. But that's the only way to kind of satisfy the debt in order for me to move on with probate.
Gotcha. Wow.
Or pay the $64,000.
Wow. You're like a kaleidoscope of information. And this is just gonna, like I was telling Ms. Cooley last week, LaTroya, it's just gonna make you like more inspired. It's gonna teach you, you're learning in the process. It's always beauty in the struggle. So just know that you are literally like an anomaly. You know what I mean? There's not too many people in California to own any acre, half acre is a huge blessing. So the fact that you're going through what you're going through is only going to help you be able to pass that down and really be able to show people how to do it. Because probate is something that I'm still not clear on. Me and Sharika are always like, we need to get probate letter. We need to get probate letter. So that's like next.
I feel the same way. Probate lawyer might be, let them do their job because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, we'll definitely be reaching out because we're trying to gain these resources and trying to build a network of people that we can pass along information to. And for you right now, can you do me a favor too, please? Can you say your grandparents' name for me? I just want to have their energy and just.
Okay, my grandmother was Georgia Taylor and my grandfather was Lindsay Taylor.
Shout out to the Taylors, Ashe.
I know they are.
Yes, but please, we'll definitely I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but we know what it is that you need. We're aware of your situation, and I will continue to tap in with you. And we definitely want to follow your story because I know that victory is yours. I'm claiming it. We claiming it. Victory is already yours. So, I'm not worried. But we would like to continue to follow your story and include you.
Y'all can have me anytime. I really appreciate the opportunity to even come speak about it. Yeah, because it's really, really hard. And even Vernell, they live 2 houses here, and LaTroya Cooley is 2 blocks up here.
Wow.
So I really do appreciate it. And
we gotta take another
trip. It'll keep me going, because it gets hard.
Yeah, and being vulnerable is scary. I will say that too. It's extremely scary, and I've realized through this process and just been putting this out here, and people coming to me and saying, "This is what I've gone through. This is what I've gone through," and Vernell telling me about you, and Troya did too, and just knowing like there's a level of shame that we have too, you know, in regards to how could you let your family's house go, you know, but we're trying the best that we can with what we have.
Exactly.
And being grandchildren, there's only so much we can do. But we're learning, and together we empower ourselves in numbers. So I just want to commend you. I appreciate you. You're a superhero too. And I'm gonna keep checking in on you. We're gonna keep bringing you back. If you have questions,
please bring me back.
we will.
It sounds like the first course of action, I guess, would be a probate lawyer.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can make that happen. Just after this, I'll send you some. I have.
Yeah, we're gonna make that happen for sure.
Thank you so much.
Well, God bless you, Ashley.
Thank
Love you and your journey, and I'll check in with you constantly.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. And
have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, nice to meet you. Wow, you guys are awesome. Are you guys all in the same class? Did you guys?
We all graduated together.
So there's an influx, and we knew this. It just seeing it now is just like, oh my gosh.
Because what we're realizing is that before the baby boomers, there was the generation before them, and now we're the ones that are educating ourselves. And it's our grandparents that are gone, and now we're fighting with the boomers.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring up our final guest of the evening. This person is always on my heart.
We was lit tonight.
He's always on my heart and on my spirit. He's like, he's my spirit. That's all I can say. And we had this, I didn't know that he experienced something similar or is going through the process himself, something similar at the same time, until I showed him the trailer, and my heart just melted and dropped. And I'm like, we got to talk about this friend. And he's local here in the LA area, and just to see how it's happening. I want to bring on none other than Alvinus.
Hi, guys. Hi, ladies.
Hi. Thanks for coming on.
How you doing, friend?
I'm doing okay. You know, it's been a long day at work. Got word actually this morning that the checks are gonna be cut for the sale of my grandma's apartment building.
Apartment building?
Building, 4 units in Culver City, West LA, California. And my aunts and my mom, they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't come together. Really, that's really what it was. Family differences. And yeah, it's bittersweet. It's not even sweet. It's just bitter. It is bitter. Yeah. I know that that's not what she wanted. But you know, finding out, I wish this would have happened some time ago. Finding out about that grandchild. What she mentioned?
The grandparent, grandchild
transfer. If I would have known that,
reprisal exclusion.
Is the ink dry?
It's a little choppy. I can't.
Yeah, it is a little choppy.
Can you pick your phone? Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Can you pick your phone up? I think something might be blocking it.
I was joking. I said, did the ink dry yet?
Let's see now. How about now?
That's much better.
Okay. No, I was making light. I was saying, did the ink dry yet? Picking up the ground.
You know what? I know that check better cash after all this.
Well, first, I want to start by just bringing light to your grandmother. What's your grandmother's name?
Her name is Faye Nelson.
Faye Nelson.
Faye Nelson.
Faye Nelson.
Yes.
So did you
on Christmas 2 years ago, and her birthday is New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Yes, She
So
is.
she come in and go out with a bang. I
Right.
like that. I see where you get it from.
Yes, and we are both Capricorns.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
y'all.
that is Capricorn.
But Alvinus, tell me, did you had conversations with your grandmother?
Of course. She told me everything. She taught me everything. She told me what she wanted, what she envisioned, and how she wanted it to be, you know. But ultimately, you know, these decisions come down to the oldest, oldest of kin. And my aunt, my Aunt Diane, she has a beautiful heart, and I know her intentions are never selfish or manipulative, or she doesn't come from like a evil place. I know she was a caretaker, she was a daughter, or she's a sister, she's an aunt, she's a mother, and I respect her so much. I just my biggest challenge with everything is, being kind of a first time graduate, kind of a first time educated, that whole thing. They didn't want to do the work. They didn't want to. They didn't. Financial literacy is not prevalent in the community, and and they didn't see me. They didn't. I was at the time when this was going on. I had just finished grad school, and I'm kind of late to the game, and people are kind of like, you need to show me something before I can even listen to you. And I'm not coming with no bread to the table, so they wasn't even trying to have no conversation with me. And that's it sucks that happened that way, because 2 years now I'm getting clients and getting budgets approved, and I just wish that we could have held on, because I'm here now and it's too late.
Well, I think with that, kind of comes with the solution piece of it all, right? So instead of looking at it, because I agree, I felt the same way when my grandfather's home was sold in Berkeley, and he was very like, look, and he would even kind of whisper in my ear at times, like, look, he called me chocolate drop, look, chocolate drop, don't you make sure now, but I felt the same exact way for years. I still feel that way. I just said it when, with Ashley, like if I knew then what I knew now, but life is a ladder, you know what I mean? And it's all in, as I say, it's all in God's time, but it's about the solution. So now that was the option, it's about figuring out how to leverage that capital that's coming in, because it's not too late to continue to build generational wealth. However that looks, we now have an influx of resources. We have the education. That's like Shariq was just saying, that's what was lacking with our parents and their parents. You know what I mean? So now that we're now put in position to be able to have the education, have access to the resources, that's what it's about. It's about is us being able to bring those resources to our OGs and say, hey, look, even though we had to do this, now let's try to do this, this, and this, so that we can continue to leverage these assets. So I'll be this for you, even though it feels the way it feels, I know the feeling. I mean, we're talking one home in conjunction with 40 units for your family. And I can only imagine what that looks like on the back end. But I would empower you to just really try to sit your family down and just say, hey, these are the options. Because like you just said, that's what the OGs want to see. But okay, the who, what, when, where, why. A lot of times they're not going to do too much reading. They just want to see what's the return and how can we, you're already halfway there. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So I would, if anything we can do to help you be able to empower your family, I think that would be a great next step. Obviously not knowing. But
I think at this point, I don't know what to say in response to advocate for them and figure out resources for them, because they were all kind of the sisters, my mom and her two living sisters, and my cousin, the recipient of my aunt, God rest her soul, Aunt Karen, they were all in agreement to kind of, sell it. So I think with that, I'm just going to let that go, and know that I have done what I was supposed to do, and my grandmother is proud of me. And I'm going to use my knowledge and my financial literacy and increase my skills to get a new apartment building, to buy my own land, to start my own family, to make sure that my mom, my brother, my sister, my niece, and my nephew, that nuclear piece is together. Because
I want to, not to cut you off, I do want to interject because there was something that you said. You kind of alluded to it this time, and then before when we had our last conversation, when you kind of just said that you didn't do it in time, you were too late, or you felt like you didn't have your stuff together. And Alvina, I want to empower you in this moment and let you know that you did everything you were supposed to do, and in God's timing, and you are not too late. And for whatever reason of how the cards may lay, for whatever reason, what happened was what was supposed to happen. But by no means should you feel down on yourself. Should you feel as though you missed the opportunity or you didn't do things the way that you were supposed to do it, because clearly your grandmother instilled something in you. Having a master's degree, Alvinus, and I know how hard you worked your ass off. That is no small feat. And because of the foundation and whatever she instilled in you, she gave you that power to be able to do that. So I don't want you to say you was too late no more. I don't want you to say that you missed your opportunity, because it's not our fault. And I think we have to realize that it's not our fault. We were given cards that were dealt to us, and it sucks and it hurts like hell. But we're smarter and we're gaining more traction. I'm the very first generation to graduate from college on my mom's side, period. Nobody before me graduated from college. And it's like, I got to talk my shit. Like, it's time for us to really talk our shit and not be afraid to say, yo, look, this is what I know. This is my generation. This is what I know about right now. And this is what we can do. If y'all don't want to hear me, but I'm letting you know and say your piece. So I commend you, friend. I'm proud of you if you haven't heard it recently. And
I appreciate that. I really do.
I want you to just move forward, and I know you will, and you will continue to just be a shining light. And thank you for coming onto this platform and telling us your experience, because I know it don't feel good.
It don't. I don't. And I kind of been dreading thinking about it, and I kind of been putting off thinking about it. But Friday is 2 days away, and that's when the checks are being cut, and I think it's gonna be a new stage of grief, and probably something that I've been waiting for to really heal. Because this was taxing. It was taxing. It was emotional.
Your pain, literally. It is. It is emotionally, more so emotionally. But like Sharik said, don't feel like, because you're only one person out of a group who got the forefront. But like you said, that's where you come in now, to be able to provide and use the knowledge that you have to provide for the next generations. Hence the reason Sharik decided to do this. I mean, we've literally been through it. You know what I mean? Or have seen it happen in abundance, and I'm elated. My heart is like super full right now, because you hear about things even maybe like in your immediate family that people go through, but to see an influx of people going through the same thing in our generation and our culture in this time, this is a trying time, man. We're, regardless of what CNN and ESPN and Biden administration wants to say, we are in a recession. So, we're in a time where people are just trying to keep the lights on. So, knowledge is really power. I feel like knowledge is priceless. And so, Alvinus, for you, my prayers go out to you and your family. And I appreciate you sharing your story, because that's That's yeah. That's
People need to feel it. People need to feel it. People need to know that it hurts. We can't just keep it inside. So I commend you for sharing and being transparent and vulnerable.
And any resources that you know we'll definitely share. I think for me, I just had something just drop in my spirit that I'll share with Sharik at a later date. But I really think that this episode in general has really like inspired me a lot to at best bucket these resources and just put them out. And you know, if there's anything that comes from that, which it will, because we every week it's like an influx of more and more resources, more and more people that just want to support and just be you know, present, which is a blessing. But yeah, that's definitely whatever you need, Alvinus, we're definitely here. I'm not just saying that either. Like we have options, we have resources. And you got it, you're educated, so you seem like you're ready to go.
Yeah,
I am. I'll say about maybe another 2 or 3 years. You know, sitting on the back burner. You know, stacking and investing. I think I'm gonna be ready for a move. Not sure what that looks like yet, but I'm definitely. I got a few budgets signed. I got a few private clients coming my way from regional centers. You know, got my certification exam coming up. Like it's like things are in motion and things are in play, and I'm happy that you know I'm going to be able to really focus on that now. I know it like I said it's bittersweet, more bitter than anything, but it's some good that came out of you know living there. I drive by there all the time. It's right off the 10 freeway, so anytime I'm going west, I gotta pass the apartment building. I see it off the freeway, you know. So it's a staple. It's a staple for me. I'm from LA, so yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm gonna be better.
My family, we lost 2 apartment buildings in LA that my grandmother owned. So I feel you. Yeah. So and she when she passed, like it went actually to her ex-husband and he sold it. We didn't even have the option. So I feel your pain. You know?
Ex-husband?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because of the time when things were happening, they were still So
oh my God.
I mean, I feel your pain. But we are a generation that is like really making things happen. And this will not happen for our seeds and for our nieces and nephews. This is not going to be the same story that they're going to be telling. So
Well, thank you, Alvinus. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This was a lit block party. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna do it again. Keith's over there. I'm over here trying not to get emotional.
Love you, Alvinus.
Love you, Alvinus. Yes, and then we'll see you all next week. And please follow the link, lemede.com/SSGH. Stop selling grandma's house, you guys. Love y'all.
Pledge.
Follow us and pledge.
Bye-bye.